Hello and welcome, everyone. Hello from Memmingen, Germany. Hi,
Well,
Matt. It's good to see you again. How are
yeah,
you?
I'm doing great, Martin. It's also great to see you again too. I'm doing
Likewise.
well. I'm just sitting here in the studio thinking about tripods. It's going to be a good day.
Exactly. Interesting topic, which we last spoke about, I think, 4 or 3 years ago. How long is it that we
About three
haven't
years.
spoken
Yeah,
about tripods? About that, right?
yeah,
Interesting
yeah.
topic. And well, people let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. We would like to say hello to all parts of the world. And I think, well, why don't we jump right into it?
Let's
Or
do
should we wait for more people to tune in?
it.
What do you think?
I think they'll be good. They're on a little 30-second delay, but let's honor their commitment to be here by just starting, and then the people that show up will catch up.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks everybody for being here. We're going to jump right into the presentation. And of course, ask questions at any time in the chat or using the Q&A.
exactly. We will collect those questions throughout the presentation. And we have a little demo time right after the presentation to show you people some parts and some of the products we're talking about today in detail. And of course, to answer all of your questions. Okay, NOVOFLEX TrioPod modular camera system, support system. We have on the next slide, I guess, yes, that's the two of us again. Of course, you see us on your screen and now also on the slide. And of course, we have a list of topics that we would like to cover today. We would like to introduce you or to reintroduce you to the NOVOFLEX modular camera support system. We will show you and explain to you what configurations are possible. And right after the presentations, you will know why we are not calling this a tripod at all. And we will show you the differences between the individual models. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we will do a Q&A right after the presentation. Anything you would like to add, Matt, from your end?
No, but I want to play a video that gives people a little introduction here. So
Please do.
we're gonna talk over it, but there's going to be details we talk about. But here, Martin is going to demonstrate to you just how flexible the system is, and you can see that you can remove all of the legs, and you can attach other accessories such as leg extensions here. Right now, he's working with the largest tripod, the Pro75, which we will talk
Pro75.
about. The Pro75.
Exactly.
Yep. And
by the way, people, we took this little video out of a bigger video that we shot at Matt's studio in Catskill 2 years ago, and that was a fun shoot. I remember it. And if you want to watch the full video, which I think is a 15-minute long video, head over to our YouTube or Vimeo accounts, and you'll find it there. And if you can't find it, we'll put a link into the chat and the follow-up email.
Yep. So you can skip to the end of that video if you want to see this, but we wanted to show you that every piece. This is really the opening introduction to understanding NOVOFLEX. Every piece is expanding your capabilities. Every piece is part of a system. So unlike all the other systems out there, or not systems, single tripods, you can build to suit. You can configure to match what you want to do. So we're just going to pause on that and get back to the slides. And I think we'll jump right into sort of positioning this, right? And
exactly. And we have added a very provocative question here in this world of high ISO AI and LiDAR. Why would I still use a tripod or a camera support, as we like to call it? And we've on the next slides, we've added some of the things that can or do require a stable tripod or camera support to, well, get the shot done.
Right. Sorry, I jumped ahead there. Martin, you control the slides.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
So landscape photography, of course. This is an image that Matt shot, I think, during a recent PhotoPills meetup. Matt, why
Yeah,
don't you explain people what exactly we're seeing here?
sure. Photopills, during the last supermoon that we had, Photopills organized a worldwide meetup to photograph the supermoon all over the world. That was redundant, I know. So I hosted one in my hometown of Catskill, New York, looking across the Hudson River to photograph the moon rising behind Frederick Church's Olana, which is a state park and a treasure. So we planned it out, and I used my TrioPod Pro75 with the Falcon double gimbal to use both a telescope and a long lens on two cameras shooting simultaneously during this moonrise, so that I had two opportunities to make sure I nailed the shot. And that super stable tripod and that super stable head allowed me to put two cameras and two super long lenses on there, vibration free.
So is that a combination of two images that we're seeing here?
Yes, unfortunately it is. I say unfortunately. It's part of the craft. On that day, I had to shoot the landscape separately from the moon because by the time the moon had risen, it was so deep into twilight that I couldn't get them all in one shot. The contrast was too bright. So I did combine these in post-processing. If we had shot it the day before, the contrast was perfect. However, I would have had to move 3/4 of a mile up the shore onto a place where I couldn't have 50 people standing there. So we chose to have the meetup in a place where there's a public parking lot instead.
And you would have been there by yourself and not with 50 like-minded people.
Yeah, it would have been hard to get them to carry all the gear up a trail, a wooded trail. So yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep.
Well, macro photography and focus stacking, of course, is one of the big NOVOFLEX topics that we're very committed at. Most, and if not all of you, already know that we also make bellows and focusing rails. So macro photography, of course, requires a very, very sturdy setup.
Mm.
Filter photography. Some of you may still use filters.
I do.
Graduated filters. You're one of them. Graduated filters, ND filters, the polarizers. All of them also require tripods if you want to do it right. Anything you would like to add, Matt?
No, you hit the nail on the head. Circular polarizers and ND. Your tripod, your camera's got to be rock steady. Yep. And here's why.
Another cool picture.
Right.
Perfect example. There was shot in the German city of Zingst that is seeing an annual photo festival. It's on the Baltic Sea, and it's a very nice landscape up there. So people, if you come over to Germany, make sure to visit the Baltic Sea coast of Germany.
Beautiful.
Maybe you do a workshop there someday. It's actually located right within a national park.
Oh, sounds great. I love it.
Yep. Panorama photography, of course. We also do panorama rigs for both single row and multi-row panorama techniques. And this shot that we are seeing here is a single row panorama shot that Matt did during one of his workshops in Lofoten, Norway.
Yes.
Would you like to explain how you shot this and what tripod and maybe pano rig you used here to get the shot done?
Sure. We're going to talk about this tripod because it's my favorite. The TrioBalance was the tripod, and I used the VR System Slim pano rig, and I used a 12mm lens. So what I did was I set the rotator to the correct setting on the bottom so I could use the click steps to just, because it was cold and we had gloves on and it was 2 or 3 a.m. and we were already tired from shooting the aurora for 5 hours. So having all of those nice features, having the click steps allowed me to make another picture while I was probably at low energy but high enthusiasm. So I was able to overlap 50% accurately during that period and get a very nice stitch of the aurora.
Awesome. And of course, I mentioned single row and multi-row panos, and you coined the term, I think it was you that coined the term Vertorama.
I heard it someplace. Yeah, Vertorama.
You heard it? Well,
Yeah,
at least I heard it from you the first time. Vertoramas, vertical panorama
you're
images.
welcome. Yeah.
Studio and product photography, of course, also can require a stable tripod, and
Oh,
we
absolutely.
have a thing that is called a technical camera that is composed of our stepping motor-driven focus rail, the Castel Micro, and a bellows attachment, the TrioPod Pro, and this setup certainly requires a very sturdy tripod to use our the focus stacking technique in product and studio photography, an example of which you're seeing on the left.
Yeah, macro and telephoto photography share this in common. Any vibration is magnified by orders of magnitude. So having a really steady tripod and head helps you do your creative or technical work.
Exactly. Wildlife photography. In wildlife photography, you're well, most likely working with a longer focal length, and the longer the focal length, the bigger the lens gets, and you would want to have a stable support underneath that lens, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I think I have an example coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. That's my
Where did
my
you
business
where did
partner.
you shoot this? Your
This
business
was
partner shot this one.
well, I shot the picture, but I shot a picture of Chris using this to photograph a supermoon. So this was shot in Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, and he's using the TrioPod Pro75 and the Classic Ball 3 there. But we also had the Falcon with us for the 600 millimeter lens. That's what I shot this image with as I was panning across with the Falcon gimbal, and I got these wild horses in the national park running away
Great.
from a ranger that wanted to tranquilize one of them. So yeah, it's a story, but yeah, it was beautiful though.
Another question. Now, what's so modular about the system? You saw some of the aspect of its modularity in the little video clip that we had in one of the earlier slides. And we will now show you the different components the entire system is composed of, and we'll jump right into it. First of all, the system is composed of the so-called base units, and we like to call them spiders. So the spiders is the heart of the entire system, and it's where all the other parts, a tripod head and the legs, connect to. And as you can see in this image, the system is composed of 6 different spiders, and we will just walk you through the little bits and pieces that make all these different spiders unique.
Right. But let me just pause right there.
Sure.
There's no other manufacturer on earth that has this opportunity where you can have the same set of legs, which we'll talk about, and swap out the spiders for different uses. And let that sink in as you watch the rest of the presentation.
Which is probably the biggest advantage. So you can work with different spiders, but the same head and different legs. So different working heights, different types of stability, sturdiness, and but your head, your tripod head, and your favorite coupling system doesn't change at all, or doesn't have to change at all.
Hey, Martin,
Right?
can I ask you one question?
Sure, please.
What are the different diameters good for?
The different diameters. Well,
Yeah.
they're mostly good for well, different working loads, basically.
Yep.
The 100 millimeter spider that we see on the right is the Pro75 spider. Is a beast of a tripod. It can carry loads up to 65 kilograms. Matt, maybe you can just convert this to imperial for
150
me.
pounds. Yeah.
150 pounds.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Then we have the TrioPod-M right to the left, which is a spider that can be used with a flat ground adapter or a center column. It can carry loads up to like 25 kilograms mostly. And then we have 3 different spiders. So the BasicPod, the TrioPod, which is the namesake of the entire system, by the way, and the TrioBalance, Matt's favorite spider, which comes with a built-in leveling head. And for all the people out there who want to keep the weight of their tripod as light as possible, while not sacrificing overall stability, we have the BasicPod. But we will go into more detail in the following slides.
Yep.
Here's an overview of all the different legs that we offer, and all of the legs can be used interchangeably with all of the spiders that you just saw on the previous slides. We have 3-section, 4-section, 5-section legs, which are mostly, if not all, available in either aluminum or carbon fiber. The ones on the left-hand side are 28 millimeter legs, and the ones on the right-hand side, which are available in 3 and 4 section, 39 millimeter legs, which are mainly intended to be used with the heavy contender, the Pro75, but can of course also be used with every one of the smaller spiders as well. And then on the bottom, you'll notice a thing that pretty much looks like a hiking stick. It's a and of course, it is a hiking stick, so you can also incorporate a hiking stick as tripod legs into the entire system. And I think, Matt, you and your colleagues in National Parks at Night are also using this configuration, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I have a photograph later on in this presentation where I have a story to tell about that. But many of us own the hiking sticks and use them regularly as part of our system when we're doing some hikes, whether they're low or high altitude. Stay tuned.
So they're foldable. The lowest part is made of aluminum, and the upper 2 parts are made of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And we found an Austrian manufacturer, the company called Compodel, who makes this hiking stick for us. Compodel is well known for their hiking and skiing poles worldwide. So
it's got a nice tungsten tip to it also, and it has a removable rubber foot on it, so it's made for all sorts of terrains, from slick rock to soft soil. So
okay, well, let's move on. Okay, the BasicPod, the smallest of the spiders, as I mentioned earlier. And as you can see, I think this is this a $1/2 coin that I
it's a
put right
$1/2.
next to it for comparison. So it's a little bigger than a $1/2 coin, and it's very lightweight. It has 2 different angles that you can screw the legs into, so you can work very close to the ground or right on a table, as you see in the leftmost example. And of course, if you are working with the hiking pole legs and longer legs, you would want to use the other angle as well. So the lightest and by far tiniest solution of all of the spiders is the BasicPod. And
I have to remark, it's remarkably rigid. Because of the solid single piece metal construction milled out of the aluminum, whenever you screw any leg into this, it's remarkably rigid. And despite its diminutive size, it's very sturdy.
It is. And even more so if you use one of the if you use as the third leg one of the carbon fiber or aluminum legs that we offer. We have some people who use 3 of the hiking poles on it, but if you want to bring in some extra stability, we strongly recommend to only use 2 hiking poles and a third carbon fiber or aluminum leg. And this is also the example that we're seeing here in this picture. This is a photographer from Germany called Bernd Ritschl, who's frequently shooting in the Alps for, some bigger and smaller companies. And he's using this on a constant basis if he's, hiking on some mountain ridges, as you see here. Okay, TrioPod and TrioBalance. As I mentioned earlier, TrioPod is the namesake of the entire system. We introduced it back in 2013. That's when we introduced the um, flexibility of the entire system to the tripod world. And when we came to the game of manufacturing tripods, well, we had to, make up our mind of how we can stand out or how we can do things different. And that's when we came up with the idea of, switching legs and making this a whole system. And from there, the whole system evolved to becoming as big as it is right now. So difference between TrioPod and TrioBalance, it's very similar. The TrioPod is the spider that is used by many people as their entry into the modular TrioPod system. It's a standard tripod spider which will accept any standard tripod head, preferably a NOVOFLEX head, of course. But if you're working with heads from different manufacturers, of course, it will accept those as well. 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch on top. It'll accept all the 28 millimeter legs at their 3 connection points, and the same with the TrioBalance. And the only difference here is that it has a built-in leveling head, which makes it the preferred choice for all the people who are shooting panorama out there, who don't want to bring a tripod head because they want to keep the weight as light as possible. So it's there. You have a 20-degree movement to either side with the built-in leveler, and so that's the difference between the two. Anything you would like to add, Matt?
Sure. It's also great for people who shoot video too, or video, because you always need to be level if you're going to be doing any camera movements.
Right.
It's so fast to just get up, set up level. Yeah, there's a ton of applications, I'd say, where if you struggle to level any other way, this will help you a lot, especially if you wanted to put even for simple panos, to put anything above this. You level this, and anything you put above that, as long as that's level, you can rotate and have a single row pano really quickly. So it's also about the same diameter as like a soda bottle or a water bottle. So when you put it on the side of your bag, it's not big. And I think in a lot of cases that really matters. Some tripods have a lot of extra space around them that are required to put it away. And the third thing is, there you go. You can see how narrow it actually is, but it's really strong. And the third thing is you can put really long legs on this, but then unscrew all 3 of the legs from the spider and put it in bags that you couldn't fit other tripods in, because you can remove all the legs. And I do that all the time for international travel. It's a key part of my my strategy.
Right. Well, thank you.
Yep.
So some sample shots. So the TrioPod with the Magic Ball Mini on the left, with a Classic Pulse 3 on the right. And this one is being used upside down here. I think we will, going back to this photo, I think, Matt, we have plans to do a similar webinar on all the tripod heads sometime in the future. So
yeah, we are. We're putting that together.
We don't want to go into too much detail here, but people keep this in mind. We will talk about this in a different webinar.
But yes, and also feel free to ask questions. And at the end, after we answer the tripod questions, we can certainly answer questions about heads. Yep.
Of course, absolutely. Let's do this.
So I promised
I think this is your slide. You promised us a story.
Yeah. So this is this photograph I made of one of the famous bristlecone pines in Great Basin National Park in Nevada. And you could see the photograph I took before embarking on the hike, which took us up above 11,000 feet. Because of that, I knew I wasn't quite sure about how I'd perform, because I hadn't done any high altitude hiking yet that year. I didn't want to bring a lot of gear. So I brought one camera, one lens, my pano rig, the TrioBalance, one full-size tripod leg, and the hiking sticks. And that was my kit. And I brought the TrioBalance because I knew I wanted to make a pano. I heard that the bristle cones were all on a hill and they were grouped together, so there would be a real struggle to try and isolate one of them. Unfortunately, the hike took us longer than expected, and I got there after twilight. So I was standing at the bottom of a hill shooting upwards, and I used the pano rig to maintain proper perspective so the trees aren't keystoning. And this is a 2-row pano made with something that with a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. And it looks natural, but it's because I could carry all the right gear with me, because 2 of my tripod legs were my hiking sticks. And I think it's a real success story for me personally, of saying, yes, I can. And having this tripod system help me get the right gear there, instead of carrying a tripod plus some hiking sticks, which were absolutely necessary for me to complete the hike. So I'm pretty proud of this image, but I'm also really proud of the story behind it, because it took a lot of effort to go from 10,000 to like 11.5 to get up there to where the bristle cones grow. Yeah. And it was a lot of it had to do with, the guts to do it, but the other was making sure I had light enough gear with me that I could make the entire trek. So
Which of the standard tripod legs did you use as a third leg for this configuration? Is it the
2844, I think? Yeah.
Because I just assembled your hiking tripod here.
Oh, look at that.
Just wanted to know. Yeah.
So
Martin's
going to show us what I had right now.
Your combination then.
So while I was talking, Martin took the 2 hiking poles, removed the tops, and screwed them in his legs.
Exactly.
And took the 1 tripod leg that I had and screwed it into the TrioBalance. And that's the configuration I used, with a quick release plate, the Cubase 2, and my panorama rig, the VR System Slim, on top of it.
So it's that easy.
Yeah.
And you save a lot of weight, as you just mentioned.
Truth. Yeah. So that's a good story, and I'm glad I could share it. Anybody has any questions, drop them in the Q&A.
Thank you. So TrioPod-M, this is the next spider we want to talk about. It's the only 80 millimeter spider, and of course we had to increase the diameter because people were asking us, and some even begging us, to introduce a center column into the TrioPod system, which we had not done so for years, because well, usually a center column, the more you extend the center column, it will decrease the overall stability of a tripod. Don't you agree, Matt?
For sure. Yeah.
But of course, people wanted this, so we decided to bring a center column to the TrioPod system. And if you look closely in the picture on the right, this spider does not only come with 1 center column, but with a short column as well, which is the height of the spider itself.
Yep.
So if you remove the long column and bring in the short column, you can still do shots close to the ground. So the standard column is not in the way of working in different situations.
Yeah, you can spread the legs out parallel to the ground and have it go all the way down, and carrying that plug with you. If you like to keep the center column in, keeping that short column in your bag is really easy. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So
I usually screw it into one of the lateral threads if I use the TrioPod-M, and hang one of my photo bags or backpacks onto it.
I learned something from you every time, Martin.
I think I'll have it here. See? So
let me switch over.
This is the.
Look at that.
So this is the short column, and one of the lateral threads will accept it, so you can't lose it, you can't forget it. Just unscrew the big center column, bring it in, and that's how easy it is.
That's so cool. What a great suggestion.
So Before people ask, the center column, the standard center column, will add some additional height of 27 centimeters. Matt, can you give us the 27 centimeters in inches?
Oh, sure.
Convert this. Sorry.
I'm not good at this. It's 10.6 inches.
10.6 inches. Thank you. And another solution of adding a backpack to the TrioPod-M is the mini legs, of course.
Yeah.
We will talk about this later, but all of the spiders are also available in pre-configured kits, and all of these kits always include the mini legs.
Yeah.
So screw in 2 of the mini legs in 2 of the lateral threads, and just hang your backpack to your tripod, which will add some weight. So in windy situations, or if it's muddy outside, if it's dirty, you don't have to like have your backpack lying in the dirt, or if you want to change lenses, filters, and so on and so forth. It's quite conveniently placed if you just hang it onto 2 of the mini legs.
Yeah, we affectionately call the mini legs the drumsticks.
The drumsticks, yeah. Another example by our dear friend Robert Thompson of Northern Ireland. He's an avid user of, I think, the TrioPod-M, the Pro75.
Yep.
And an advocate of using tripods whenever you go out and shoot.
Beautiful pano.
Mm-hmm. Another image. Robert is also great in doing stunning macro images, lichens and mushrooms and whatever he can find out in the woods.
And he's so good at what he does.
And we did 2 webinars with Robert where he explains what he does, speaks about his work, and about his affection of tripods and focusing rails. So if you want to watch some of these webinars, head over to our YouTube account. You'll find them there.
I'm going to post Robert's website in here, and I'm also going to post a couple of his videos. So people
on Robert's website, yeah, you will find several reviews of NOVOFLEX tripods with many of his images, and he describes the products, and most of the products he's working with in every detail possible. Speaking of the TrioPod-M again, of course, it's also possible to use the center column upside down. If you don't want to use the mini legs that are supplied and still want to get close to the ground, so as you see here. And then the last spider, the Pro75, and also one of the spiders that you use quite often, right?
I love it. I love it. Hey, we mentioned before that it holds 150 pounds. I've put some crazy payloads on this. The biggest payload is when I used a very long quick release plate and clamped 3 different heads to it. And I had 2 star trackers and 1 long lens. So I had 3 cameras with 3 different methods of either tracking or, zooming in on stuff on it on one tripod. And they were rock solid. I absolutely adore this. And sometimes I extend the legs and I replace the center column with something. I'll replace the plate with something we'll talk about in a second. But it's remarkably light as a spider for the strength that it provides. And I'm very impressed every time I use it. And sometimes I carry it with me out into the field, even when hiking, because I want to rely on it when I'm doing longer lens astrophotography or astro landscape tracking. So, yep.
Which involves long exposures in your camera.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And still, if you travel, you can take it apart. You can unscrew the legs and have them sit in your suitcase and the spider and the head in your backpack, or the other way around. So
I put the spider in the top of my backpack in the roll top, and I put the legs in the front pocket, and nobody knows that I have a gigantic tripod with me. It's a nice way to go stealth also. Yeah.
To go unnoticed.
Yeah. I get underneath the radar of people at TSA or the check-in at the airlines. They don't necessarily ask me how heavy my bag is because this stuff is on the inside.
So let's not hope there is someone working for the TSA amongst the audience today.
I'm sure that they're like, you know what? Good on you, Matt. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So some sample images by Robert again. I mentioned earlier he's a big fan of the TrioPod-M and Pro75 spiders. And here he's using it with our brand new Kopf geared head. And the Pro75 spider is not only modular in as much as we can swap legs, but it will also accept some accessories such as its own leveling ball that can be countersunk into the spider, as you see here, in combination with the Falcon double gimbal head. And here in combination with a Signer camera and a Fuji GFX in the back, and a GFX 100 and a Fujifilm shift lens in front. And of course, those applications require sturdy tripods as well. So architecture photography, landscape and product photography, as we mentioned earlier. Another example of my colleague Andreas shooting in a church here in Memmingen with our Cube modular goniometer head underneath a Valpro.
Yep.
And with the Kopf geared head again, shooting architecture with a Canon camera and a Canon shift lens. Robert again, shooting lichens.
A great combination, yeah.
And of course, you can swap the Magic Balance for a geared center column that you can use both ways.
Yeah, it has a threaded post on both the top and the bottom.
And of course, then we also offer a half bowl. So if you're working with some video heads that come with a half bowl at the bottom, like this Böllebach head or some Benro heads offer a half ball on the bottom. It's an easy way of to level them out because they sort of have their own leveling unit built in already. And like all the other spiders, also the Pro75 spider has lateral threads, which will accept accessories such as rods, flexible goosenecks, which can be equipped with clamps and such as in this example here to, well, build a
screen.
A movable height, a screen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To hide the tripod from animals that are around you if you're shooting landscape and wildlife photography.
Brilliant.
And the picture on the right, that's a quite interesting feature.
Oh yeah.
So the legs of the Pro75 can be how do you explain this, Matt? Can be folded around, flipped over.
Yep, you flip them over, you invert it, but it has a strong
inverted. That was the word
stop.
I was missing.
Yeah, it has a specific click stop for doing this. If you didn't want to flip everything over on the tripod, or you didn't have the geared column to hang something upside down, you can just turn the legs up over as if you're folding it on itself like a travel tripod, and have a just as stable, exactly the same stability, but everything that was on top of the tripod is now facing downwards.
Thank you. So I spoke about this earlier. All of these spiders that we mentioned so far, beginning with the TrioPod, the TrioBalance, the TrioPod-M, and the Pro75, are available in kits, which always include one of these 4 spiders. Then 3 of the bigger legs. So depending on the material and working height you want to shoot with, there's 3 of the bigger legs included, 3 of the mini macro legs that you're seeing here in the picture are always included in all of the kits. So if you plan to invest into one of these spiders and tripod kits, you're actually getting 4 tripods in one. It's a classic tripod. It's a monopod because all of the legs, even the mini legs, double as a monopod. Yep. We're using the 1/4-inch thread on top to connect them to the spiders. And of course, the 1/4-inch thread will also go right into the tripod thread at the bottom of your camera. Then we have a macro tripod. If you switch the bigger legs for the mini macro legs, and a thing which we call the leaning pod. So if you swap 2 of the bigger legs for the mini macro legs and leave one of the bigger legs attached to the base, you can lean it against the wall, rest it on a table. I think Matt is using this combination in some of his studio macro shots quite frequently, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have a rolling bench, like a tool bench that's really heavy, but I replaced 2 of the legs with the mini legs, and I get right up on top of the bench, and I use the 3rd leg to go down to the floor so that I have a really stable but appropriately sized legs on the table that don't take up extra space while I'm doing the macro work.
Awesome. So there's many combinations possible. And of course, all of the legs are available separately. So if, God forbid, one of the legs break, you can just order a single leg and replace it with a new leg. And we have quite a few customers who actually buy a second kit of legs with a longer working height, or some travel legs as an accessory. So then you can swap legs depending on what your assignment holds. Well, I think, do we need a demo time, Matt? I think you have prepared some legs and some spiders on your table right next to you.
Yeah, I might just show a little bit of some of my favorites. I told Martin earlier today as we were preparing for this, I loaned out my TrioPod-M to a local photographer. They were curious about it, so I don't have that to demonstrate, but I have 3 of the other spiders. So I'm going to switch over real quick, and I just want to show you guys physically and close up what they look like. So bear with me as I switch over. And I'll just point my microphone in the correct direction. And Martin, you'll let me know if everybody can hear me, or you can hear me, right?
I will. Yeah, absolutely. We can hear you fine.
Great. So for scale and size, let's put these in perspective. This is my favorite one. This is the TrioBalance right here. And you can see it's a little mussed up from me using it, but the 20 degrees of tilt is why I love it, because I can always just set up and be done and ready. Now, of course, this is set up as if the legs were splayed out. Normally, these legs would be in like that, or in like this, so that you can see. You press the buttons here, and there we go. And now you can adjust the leg angle like that. So sometimes it's hard to do because but you can see that it has many clicks on it.
Yeah, it's easier if you have legs attached to them, then you have like more leverage.
So much easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Pro75, so you can see the scale difference. So that's why this one can hold
100 millimeters.
Yeah, this is 150 pounds of holding, and I forget how many pounds that this one holds. But this is my daily use tripod, and this is my special use tripod. But this is how flat it can pack. So if you were to put this in your backpack, you could, or on the bottom of a case, you could make this flat. And this one does have the M-Bal Pro in it, which is the other leveling head. And you'll see that's a thing with me. I like to be able to level out quickly because I'm a pano freak. So, and then this is the the BasicPod. This is the one that's about the size of a silver dollar. So if you just look at those two, having this in my backpack means that I always have a hiking ready tripod base with me, and I can just pair it up with like a ball head that's the same size, and then I'm ready to
That's the
go.
ball 30.
This is the ball 30. Or if I want to be even more risky, which I have done this, I take one of the even smaller ball heads, and a 24-70 on one of my mirrorless cameras will definitely work on this.
Ball
I wouldn't
19.
recommend. Yeah, this one is fantastic. So I usually pair this up with my favorite quick release, the Cubase 2, and now I'm ready to quick release my L bracket or my panel bracket on and off of this. And then of course the legs just screw into this. And the Pro75 here again, this is the M valve, but this is the plate that comes with it, and this is the accessory that you insert inside instead. And this is where you make the adjustment for the ball, the leveling ball. But it can be significantly lighter if you take the balancing head out and just put the plate that comes with it in it. So, and now I got everything here, right? Let's see if we're gonna fit it in the screen. This is hard. I can't tell which way I'm supposed to be going because
Go down a little.
A monitor. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
There we go. So that's the center column for this, for the Pro75. So you would remove this accessory in the center of the spider and replace it with this geared. There's the arm right there, and the lock is up here, and you have all this travel for the gearing, and this side has a thread on it, and so does this side. So it's I've built like a 13-foot tall tripod with this and some leg extensions so that I could get up above the edge of a lighthouse and get the top of it. So coming back to my seat now, I hope that was educational, instructional. I hope people.
That was amazing. And you brought up some interesting thing which we forgot to tell people about.
What's that?
And these are the extension rods.
Yes.
So all of the legs, the 39mm legs, and I don't know if people can see this. Let me bring this into the picture.
Look at that.
Can be extended with some of these carbon fiber extension rods, which are put in between the spider and the top of the standard tripod leg.
Yep.
You just mentioned that you had to shoot over a fence or some obstacle.
I was photographing very north, very close to me is the Hudson Athens Lighthouse. It's a lighthouse on a stone pier in the middle of the Hudson River. Mm-hmm. And there's a very small walkway that moves out away from the base of it, but it's the only place on the entire thing where the walkway hugs around it where you can get even close to seeing the tippy top of the lighthouse. But if you go up higher, you can see the lighthouse start to emerge, as you get higher. So I knew that was going to be the case. So I brought a step ladder with me and leg extensions and the geared column, and I got up to about 13 feet in the air plus my head, and then I could finally peek over enough to take a photograph of this lighthouse while it was lit. And it's technically a very challenging shot to set up. Yeah.
So everything's possible.
Everything's possible
with a pair of extension legs, and of course these can be coupled with both the aluminum and the carbon fiber legs as well.
Yep, and it's the system mentality. Like I can solve problems instead of I need to get another tripod to solve a different problem. It's that simple.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh, should we jump right into the slides back?
Sure. So there was one question, and we're going to answer the one question that we have in the Q&A right now. And if anybody else has had thoughts bubble up during this, now's a good time to put them in the Q&A or the chat. And if you're watching this on replay on YouTube, just put the comments on YouTube and we will see that and get back to you. But Klaus asked the following: have you considered having the mini legs screw into and store in the full-size legs and share the feet?
That's interesting. And yes, at some point we have considered this, but I don't know why we never introduced this, but we have considered this, and I think that's we should think about this again, and maybe in some future iteration we will introduce some legs that will have this feature. But thanks, Klaus, for reminding us of well, this solution. Thank you.
That was a really good question, Klaus. Appreciate that. Josie has asked if I can share the lighthouse photo. Let me open up Lightroom real quick and locate it while Martin talks about something else.
Let me see. Attendee Q&A. We will follow up on your questions. Right now, we don't have any more questions.
Right.
But people, if right after finishing today's webinar, some questions pop up, please feel free to shoot us an email, and we'll be more than happy to get a reply to you as soon as possible. So, and while Matt is still looking for his lighthouse photo,
I've got it. I've got it. I found it.
Oh, you found it.
I found it.
That was quick.
Well, I've done a really good job of organizing my Lightroom. So
that's cool.
Share screen.
Share screen.
Entire screen, this one, and share. Here it is. So this is shot with an 11mm lens, and it is I think it's a 2-row panorama. That I don't know how I operate. I did it carefully on a stepladder. And this might not be the best stitch because I see some things going on here, but at least you can get the idea. You can see that it took a little bit just to get around the lighthouse there. There's another version of it right there. So yeah, this one was really tough to get that lighthouse in view. I had to get up high in there to get that. And the exaggeration in the walkway here is from the super wide lens. And you can probably see our shadows. See that shadow right there? I'm going to zoom in on it.
Yep.
This is funny. You can see.
Yeah, I can see it.
There's the camera, and there's the extended center column. And you can see even 1 or 2 other cameras in my stepladder in the shadow there. So, yeah, there it is. So
great image, Matt.
Hey, thank you. So, woo, that was good.
Yeah, please join and follow us. We mentioned it earlier. If you want to see some replays of previous webinars or some more video content, head over to our YouTube account. Visit our website, both the US one and the international one. And of course, visit nationalparksatnight.com. Matt, do you want to speak about National Parks at Night a little before we finish today's webinar?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, National Parks at Night is entering its 10th year, its 10th season. We teach people how to make night photography in wild, protected, beautiful spaces in the United States and around the world. We teach technical workshops, we teach inspirational workshops, and we go on photo tours. We have a blast doing it. There's 5 partners in the company, and we all pair up. There's always 2 instructors on every workshop, and we have a lot of fun, and so do our attendees. So if you're interested in that, I'll drop the link in. It's pretty easy. It's already there. It's called nationalparksatnight.com. Sign up for our mailing list. We publish our workshops once a year. We also have 2 conferences. End of January, we have a virtual conference called the Night Photo Summit, and we have an in-person conference every year and a half called Nightscaper Photo Conference. So
great conference, by the way. Great conference. 4-day event.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry, Matt.
No, that's fine. You were saying how much you liked the conference. I interrupted you. Sorry.
Great event in the south of Utah, a little town of Kanab. 5,000 people live there. So it's basically in the middle of nowhere. And it's dark. It's pitch black throughout the night. So if you want to do astro and night photography, that's the place to go.
Yeah.
And you guys nailed it with choosing this place and organizing this event.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so we love night photography. We all do daytime photography too, but we really excel at teaching night photography, and that's my jam. I love it, but I really love being an educator too. And I love partnering up with NOVOFLEX, who supported me for many years. So it's really
Our
fun
pleasure.
working with you, Martin, on these projects. And everybody who has questions, just send us an email, hit reply, use the comments, whatever. We love questions, and we'll be happy to answer you as quickly as possible. So.
Exactly. I can only thank you, Matt. I can only give back, and I like working with you, and I like learning from you,
No,
as
thanks,
always.
Martin. Right back at you.
Well,
The feeling's
thank you,
mutual.
people, for being here. Thanks for tuning in. This is the end of today's webinar. And as I mentioned earlier, as we mentioned earlier, if you have questions coming up, shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to send you a reply as soon as possible.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.